You know, when I was deployed, there's times where I wouldn't pay attention to any golf coverage. And then I think in 2015, 2016, I'm running my own prison basically out of this abandoned house in northern Syria. And I was the only American there with my linguist and a dozen different local militia. And, in my little safe room that I have there where I have my internet dish and my connections and everything, I stumbled upon the trap draw. And that was my first introduction to NLU.
All right, let me have you start. Give me your name and your occupation.
Cody McBride. I work for No Laying Up. I grew up in northern Montana, one of 5 kids. I have a very close, tight-knit family. I was a little cowboy kid, little Wranglers and Garth Brooks flame shirts. I got into golf when I was 9 years old, just based off of sheer happenstance, and I quickly got the bug. Graduated and immediately set sails to Tempe, Arizona, and was lucky enough to get into the PGM program. Tempe is a lot, and it catches up with you quick. Every credit card company was hawking credit cards still. You just come sign up and they give you $1,000 credit limit. And in my world, that's $1,000 in my pocket. And I lived like that and just ended up creating a massive amount of debt. It got to the point where I was broke and I still had a year and a half of school left. And I'm sitting there thinking is this the best bet for me? And I decided to enlist. And it was probably the best decision that I ever made in my life. I chose the Army because there's no way I was gonna join the Marines. That's just not me at all. And the recruiter's I'm not letting you become an infantryman, and I need you to be military intelligence. It's okay, so what are these jobs that I can do? It's well, there's this thing called imagery analysis. You can look at pictures and decipher where bunkers or, enemy positions are at on a map, and you write up reports on them, and that doesn't sound fun to me at all. You're just kind of looking at pictures. There's signals intelligence, obviously, radios, cell phones, and there's human intelligence, interrogations. The day after I graduated my advanced training, I deployed to Iraq. And the first day that I got there, I met my senior interrogator, and he put me in an interrogation booth with a real life detainee and said, "Watch this." And it was the most nervous I've ever been in my life, because really there was a terrorist sitting across the room from me, and the interrogator that I'm watching run this session is laughing and joking and having a normal conversation with the guy. And they seem like they're best friends. And it blew my mind. That interrogator, did an awesome job. And it was this huge eye-opening moment of, oh my God, this job matters so much. And this is exactly what I'm here to do. Had my first taste of combat. I knew exactly what was going on by the sounds and by what I was seeing. By the way, it was in the middle of the night, and you're seeing everything under night vision, and it's just greened out anyway. But it felt very calming. I went through my natural freeze and then immediately went into working the problem in front of me. This situation of chaos quickly became such controlled chaos, and it became like a symphony. My vehicle's been blown up multiple times. I've been in, helicopter crashes, I've been shot at, hundreds of times, that I would learn over time would just become routine for me. I think once you experience that once, it becomes kind of the norm. And for me, very fortunate, lucky, some maybe would say unlucky, some people would say crazy, but I've done that over 15 times. So 15 deployments all over the world. The turnover rate at Ranger School is very high. The majority of people who start each class do not pass. I mean, getting your Ranger tab is difficult, to say the least. And first time that I was away from my then fiance, and you have all electronics and means of communication stripped away from you, I made it through okay. Writing letters to Yari, to my mom and dad, and doing anything you can to occupy your time, because you're not sleeping. I mean, you would go 7-8 days, maybe getting an hour or two sleep a night. When you get done, you know how much it actually means. We're very much like a scalpel. If you wanted a sledgehammer, like you would call in the Marines. But we're like the scalpel to handle like precision stuff. And with that scalpel is that you can only use it so many times before it starts to get dull, and then you have to replace it. Part of that like emotional wear and tear is also weighs on a relationship. I think for a long time, I put my life and my career ahead of my relationship and my marriage. I think it's just something that naturally comes with being in special operations, is that you're constantly told you are the best, you are special. Your wife is just kind of made to feel like they're just there to be your ultimate support system. When does the sacrifices end? When do you stop thinking about yourself, your career, whatever, and start thinking about the woman that you want to live your life with, the person that you want to have children with, the person that you want to be old with? And I made the decision to get out. And the transition was something that I didn't really know what I wanted to do, what I was going to do. When you're part of a team, when you're part of a unit, when you're part of a brotherhood, where you have somebody on your right and left that you can trust and know that they will have your back no matter what, you seem invincible. There's nothing that can stop you or slow you down. So what do you think happens when all of that is removed? Who do people fall back on? Who do people rely on? Struggle with transition is real, and I think the biggest thing that we can do as a community is talk about it, discuss it.
In the military, you're trusted so much at such a young age, at the age of 19, 20, 21. You're given such responsibility. You're someone, you matter. And you go back to a place that remembers you as that 19-year-old kid that left. No one sees the accomplishments or the person that you've become or the difference or the impact that you've made in the world.
Yeah, I want to start a podcast, and I think we're going to tell stories of perseverance, of dedication, of overcoming extreme obstacles, both of everyday people and of some of the most unique people that there are, both in and outside of the world of golf. And I could not be more excited about it.
How close are you looking at this payout structure?
Probably too close. They put the sheet right on the scoring table, and you're looking at it and you're like, oh my gosh.
A lot of it is just, knowing what's going wrong and acknowledging the thoughts that come in your head.
Me specifically, I'm diagnosed with PTSD. I would say that I don't struggle with PTSD, but that's me not being honest with myself.
I'm trying to be like one of the best players in the world. And right now I'm on developmental tours with this problem. And like, that is not a place you want to be.
If I'm having a shitty day, or if I'm like, how am I going to get out of this? I don't see a way out. Like, what is the plan for my life? Why don't I see it? I can listen to this podcast, and by chance that day, there's going to be somebody who is going to pop up and say, when I was this old, I went through this, and this is how I persevered. This is how I got through it.